Hey everyone, welcome back. Big news on today's video. Should Polestar become a private company? Volvo Cars should take listed electric car brand private. CEO sees successful year ahead despite economical headwinds. So Volvo Cars AB and its parent Geely may need to take the Polestar company private, according to Bernstein, which sees shares in the struggling electric car brand declining further amidst intense competition. The company, which listed in 2022, is on the road to nowhere, Bernstein analyst Daniel Roecker said in a note. We love the innovation asset line strategy. We like the cars, but we don't think the company should be a standalone equity. Bernstein said it would be initiating coverage of the company with an underperformed rating, attributing a target price of $1.15, indicating a 44% downside. The stock has plummeted more than 82% in the past year. And this is just a look at how the company has performed. And I believe this is since the IPO. Polestar stock value has slumped since US listing, and it really has. And to be honest, last year I expected this stock to go back to $10. And here's my reason. Initially, Polestar was on guidance to deliver up to 80,000 vehicles last year. They were expected to bring the Polestar 3 into production and onto the market last year. They didn't accomplish that. And in fact, not many people could predict that Tesla would start offering their vehicle at such a huge discount. That disrupted the market quite a bit. And Polestar don't do discounts. It's very simple. They don't do discounts. And I completely understand and I completely agree with that. To have the brand value Polestar intends to have, you can't just be offering discounts. Especially where the brand is currently, can't afford to be offering discounts. So last year, the brand focused a lot on just selling less vehicles because selling more vehicles would be at a loss, especially if they made discounts. They still want to be cash flow break even by 2025. They're bringing 2 new vehicles to the market this year, but it's in a really unpredictable state of affair currently. Because this year, we were expecting Polestar to be delivering well over 100 to 120, 130,000 vehicles. They barely did 50,000 last year. That's not good in any way. So I'm not surprised that the shares performed this bad. I was completely wrong when I estimated that the share price could return to as high as $8, $9, $10 because I wasn't expecting the Polestar 3 to be delayed. I wasn't expecting them to deliver so much less vehicles. I thought that they could stay on target. But something important that I've learned is that companies don't always stay on target because it's a difficult market. This is the EV market. It is extremely capital intensive. When other companies are offering discounts, it becomes extremely competitive, especially when you do not have a competitor. Polestar didn't have a competitor to the Model Y. They didn't have a competitor to the Model S or to the Model X. They only had one vehicle, and that was the Polestar 2 that could compete, barely compete, with the Model 3. And try to understand, the Model 3 sells significantly less than the Model Y. The Model Y is actually way more valuable to consumers. Polestar has no vehicles in that category in 2023 last year. Now they do. In fact, they started delivering the Model 4, Polestar 4 in China, 800 deliveries, if I'm not mistaken. But that was at the very end of last year, and it wasn't international. This year, they intend to go international with the Model 4, with the Polestar 4. The Polestar 3 is also coming this year as well. I believe in September or October. Polestar 4 is coming in August. This is to Europe and to Australia. And you know the Polestar 3, it's a prime vehicle for the US market. In fact, they're hyper-focused on that market. They want to build it in the Volvo Charlotte factory, I believe. So by no means is this brand giving up. They're just restructuring and adapting to the environment that is very difficult. Very few companies survive this environment. Warren Buffett doesn't invest in Tesla because he specifically said, car companies, they don't really survive. Tesla is a true rare exception, especially for an electric company. How they survive is truly a miracle, and it's inspired other companies to do the same. But it's not easy. Tesla struggled for years. 2014, 2013, 2012. The news was constantly negative on Tesla. When will they fail? When will they go bankrupt? And Tesla almost did go bankrupt when they were ramping up the Model 3. Or was it? I think it was the Model 3. It was production hell, as Elon Musk said. And he almost sold the company to Apple. So that must tell you, if it was that difficult for Tesla, Imagine how difficult it is for other brands. Rivian, Polestar, Lucid, the list goes on. Faraday Future, not doing so well. NIO. NIO is branching out into Europe, but again, very capital intensive business. So it's extremely unpredictable. But when the prices are this cheap, I will use that to my advantage and buy as much shares as possible. This is not financial advice, this is just my opinion. Now, Polestar, after the SB last week, said it could no longer attribute a value to the company as it continues to burn cash, made it difficult to find a valuation floor. It is continuing to burn cash. In fact, that's the point of an EV company, is that they burn a lot of cash. That's the point of any automaker, is that it is extremely capital intensive. You can expect that when investing in one. If you're an investor, you don't have the capacity to support an EV brand, you don't have the money to just burn, you should not invest. Like Warren Buffett says, if you're buying a company, a stock, you should consider that if the market closed tomorrow for 10 years, you should be happy holding that company. I see a lot of investors already panicking. I see a lot of investors already unhappy with Polestar. But my question is, why did you invest? Didn't you predict this? I did predict that the stock price will fall by a lot, which is why I waited and I bought more as it fell. But then I predicted also that it would recover towards the end of 2023. I was wrong in that prediction. But I knew as an IPO, as a company that is an EV company, the EV market is extremely unpredictable. The stock was going to fall by a lot. I knew that. So don't blame Polestar if you invested and your valuation has fallen. Blame yourself. Learn from this. But again, it's not financial advice. The Polestar CEO defended the company in an interview Friday, saying anybody interested in the value of the company only needs to go to the ticker to see that it's trading at $4 billion worth. The separate listing was meanwhile exercised, with the company well alongside establishing itself successfully in the EV market. He wouldn't say whether Geely or Volvo had expressed any limits to their patience. It's our own interest not to make this company always dependent on being funded by our shareholders. Good. This is why they want to become cash flow break even at least by 2025. That way they have to rely on their investors quite a lot less. And something that I must add, which I've made a completely separate video to this, but I must add this. Volvo is considering transferring a lot of their share ownership to Geely. Volvo wants to step back in terms of supporting Polestar financially. They will still support Polestar in terms of R&D, manufacturing, after sales, and commercial. So they'll still support Polestar in the most important ways. But supporting Polestar in a financial way has been very taxing, very expensive for the Volvo company. So they want to take a step back, and that makes complete sense. So in a statement that's been released today, in fact, 1st of February, Polestar stated that the Swedish electric performance brand welcomes Geely Sweden Holding as a potential new direct shareholder, which means that Geely will own a lot more percentage of Polestar, and they will probably be the main funder of the Polestar company. It looks like Volvo still intends to own a small percentage of the Polestar company, probably 10%, 20%, maybe 25%, giving the keys to the kingdom to Geely. Geely is certainly more well-positioned to support the Polestar brand to get to cash flow break even and eventually profitability. Now you see this lineup of cars, Polestar 2 on the left, the Polestar 3, the Polestar 4, and the Polestar 5. These vehicles will perform very well in the global EV market. And that's what I'm looking forward to. People need to give the brand a chance to bring these vehicles to market. Don't forget, they're also going to bring the Polestar 6 Roadster to market as well. Yes, bring these vehicles to market. Then and only then will we know for sure if this brand is worth investing in. But for now, a lot of people will still have doubt. I don't have any doubt. I still think this brand is worth investing in. I don't think this brand is going anywhere. People do like the cars, and they only have one car. So imagine when they bring the new cars to the market. I think people will love these vehicles. So I look forward to seeing this company winning. But just as a disclaimer, yes, Volvo is considering handing over quite a lot of its ownership to Geely. So the question really should be, should Geely make Polestar a private company? And I'm biased because I actually own shares in the company. But if they made a company private, it would also mean that a lot of investors would just lose a lot of money because Geely is not going to take this company private for a higher price than it currently is. It doesn't make any sense. They'll take it private for as cheap as possible. The only other option is if Geely attempts to take this company private, will another company come in and say, hold on a minute, we would like to buy it from Geely? Now that would enter a bidding war, sort of. So you can see there's quite a few possibilities, but the main one is that if Geely wanted to take it private, it could. Is there any benefits to leaving it as a public company? Certainly. But the benefits will come later. Later, we're talking 2026, 2027, 2028, closer to 2030. That's when this company will make back the money. That's when investors will make back their money. It's in the next decade. It's not in the next year. It's not in the next 2 years. This company is fully focused on bringing these vehicles to market and then trying to be cash flow break even, then trying to be profitable. So I am biased. I wouldn't like to see this company go private because I really like this company significantly too much. So I hope it doesn't go private. But I could see it being a possibility. I can see Geely considering it. But after all of this, after they've went through a huge IPO, well, it wasn't as big as Rivian, but it was a significant IPO. Is it even worth going public? Is it even worth going private after everything they've been through? I think that would be a huge discredit to Polestar and what the brand stands for. In fact, more companies are going public. Porsche recently went public, and we want to compete with Porsche. So taking the company private, I don't think that's the solution, if I'm being completely honest. I think the solution is securing funding, and the main proprietor in that is Geely. So if Geely can support the company to cash flow break even and then profitability, the rewards will come later. But on the other hand, if they leave it as it is and just continue to fund it, bring these vehicles to market, give this company a chance to recover, to survive, I think it would be significantly more beneficial for Geely, Volvo, and for individual investors. Subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.